In this video, or actually series of videos, because it's going to take more than one to really cover the topic, I wanted to discuss the appetites or the needs of the fallen human. We have both the males and females have what I have classified as three primary needs or desires that we hunger for. These are things that we use to replace our relationship with God to some extent. Now, these things in and of themselves, they're not bad. They're not created to be evil or wrong. But when we use them inappropriately, when we use them as a replacement for God's love and His happiness and His joy, then these things get us into trouble. And what will happen then is that we will find ourselves chasing after these things rather than chasing after God. And when we're not chasing after Him, then we've got serious problems. So these appetites are what are the primary tools of our passions. When we are driven by our passions, these overwhelming needs and desires, then these appetites come in to try to let's say, provide a temporary relief from our suffering that we have from being apart from God. So I will address the genders separately. These things are probably not a big surprise to you. You've heard them elsewhere. They're even used in secular discussions as far as mental health and things like that, but they do have a spiritual element. And if you see something that I'm saying here and you've heard it elsewhere, I'm just telling you, you have heard it elsewhere. None of this stuff should come as a shock. So the first three appetites that I want to discuss have to do with the male personality. And now the male personality, or the male person, let's say, really has three, let's say, primary appetites. One is for food, the second is sex, and the third one is respect or admiration. And when you look at Orthodox monasticism, these are three things that the monastic world really deals quite a bit with, is becoming a master over your food. Obviously, you cannot do without food completely. However, when we, let's say, eat ourselves far beyond what we really need to have, that's usually done as a response to a passion or a need, let's say. So in the male personality, you'll very often see this sort of the kind of gusto eating. That's why, for example, if you see a man attack a really big sandwich, it's kind of a masculine thing. Versus if a woman does it, would generally would say it's looked down a little bit more upon her, let's say, than it is with men. Men are just big eaters. The second one comes with sex. Our society is kind of overly pervaded with sexual imagery, and that is a male, let's say, male promiscuity is, as you can see in our most cultures, is a lot more apologized for than females, because again, men tend to derive a great deal more pleasure. And I'm not saying that all women are cold or whatnot, but this is just, like I said, just a very broad stroke that male sexuality is extremely powerful and is used as a means of deriving pleasure, happiness. And the third one is the respect issue, admiration. If you look at, men are trophy collectors. We like to do things and receive congratulations or admirations from our friends. You know, it's like you shoot the really big deer and you put that trophy head up on the wall, and you feel like you're a real man. It's that is the type of behavior that men engage in amongst themselves. They also look for that in their relationships with in marriage. Men want to have their women, you know, cook for them and sleep with them, and also admire them, respect them. When a man feels like he's being disrespected, the other things may be there, but none of these three appetites, when one of them is lacking, the other two don't really effectively make up for it. So that's why these three categories are very important to understand, especially when you're doing battle with your passions, because if you're looking to where your passions are going to surface as a man, it's going to be in one of those three categories. So our spiritual ascetical struggle is going to be to have mastery over them. It doesn't mean that we do without them necessarily. If you are a monastic, for example, you are going to do without respect. They tend to emphasize humility, and you're going to do without sex, unless there's something seriously wrong there. What we who are not non-monastics try to do is try to hold these things in moderation and understand what they are and why we turn to them, and to ensure that we're not using them for the purposes of replacing God. We don't want these things to become idols in of themselves. So that's it for the first part, and in the next video we'll discuss the female desires or pleasures, depending upon how you want to look at it. So hopefully you'll stick around.